Welcome to MedHeads, the podcast that dives deep into the most controversial health topics, separates fact from fiction, and asks the tough questions the mainstream won't. Today, we're tackling an issue that affects millions of people worldwide, but is rarely questioned: fluoride in drinking water. For decades, we've been told that fluoride is an essential public health tool, protecting our teeth and preventing cavities. But what if the story isn't that simple? New research from JAMA Pediatrics and the National Toxicology Program, NTP, has linked fluoride exposure to lower IQ scores in children. Meanwhile, countries like Sweden, the Netherlands, and Switzerland have completely banned water fluoridation, citing concerns over its long-term safety. So why is fluoride still added to the water in countries like the US and Australia without public consent? And should you have the right to choose whether you consume it? By the end of this episode, you might be questioning what's really in your tap water and whether you should filter it out. Let's start with a basic question. Why is fluoride in our water in the first place? Fluoride is a naturally occurring mineral, but in the early 20th century, scientists noticed something peculiar. Children in certain areas with high natural fluoride levels had fewer cavities. This led to an experiment in Grand Rapids, Michigan in 1945. The first U.S. city to add fluoride to its water supply intentionally. The idea caught on quickly. By the 1960s, fluoridation had expanded across the U.S., and today, about 73% of Americans drink fluoridated water. But what's often left out of this story is that fluoride was originally a byproduct of industrial processes, including aluminum and fertilizer production. Rather than disposing of it as hazardous waste, companies found a new market: public drinking water. And while fluoride does help prevent cavities, the question remains, at what cost? A major study published in JAMA Pediatrics has reignited the debate. This meta-analysis reviewed multiple studies and found that children with higher fluoride exposure had lower IQ scores by 3 to 5 points on average. This wasn't the only study raising red flags. The National Toxicology Program, NTP, also conducted a systematic review of fluoride's effects and concluded with moderate confidence that fluoride exposure above 1.5 milligrams is associated with lower IQ scores in children. Other studies have found fluoride crosses the placenta, meaning pregnant women who consume high levels of fluoride could unknowingly be impacting their baby's brain development. Animal studies suggest fluoride affects the central nervous system, potentially altering neurotransmitter function and cognitive abilities. And here's the kicker. These findings align with previous studies conducted in China, Mexico, and Canada, all of which found similar links between fluoride and reduced cognitive function. Public health officials argue that fluoride is only dangerous at high levels, levels far above what's found in most US and Australian water supplies. But let's pause here. The so-called safe level of fluoride in US drinking water is 0.7 milligrams per liter. The studies showing IQ loss typically focused on levels above 1.5 milligram per liter, which isn't far off from what's found in some regions. People consume fluoride from multiple sources, not just tap water. Toothpaste, processed foods, tea, and even pharmaceuticals contribute to total fluoride exposure, meaning the cumulative dose could easily exceed so-called safe levels. And here's a crucial point. The government doesn't account for individual variability. Pregnant women, young children, and people with kidney disease are more vulnerable to fluoride's effects, yet they receive the same exposure as everyone else. So why isn't the government taking a precautionary approach? Many developed countries have looked at this same evidence and made a different decision. Sweden, Denmark, the Netherlands, Finland, Germany, Japan, and Switzerland have banned or never adopted water fluoridation, citing concerns over ethics, safety, and lack of strong evidence for effectiveness. The World Health Organization, WHO, has even stated that fluoridation should not be forced on populations without their consent. And yet, countries like the US and Australia continue to mandate water fluoridation without allowing people to opt out. If these other nations have managed to maintain good dental health without fluoride in their water, why are we still adding it? So, if fluoride is in your water, what can you do? Reverse osmosis filters are the most effective way to remove fluoride from tap water. Distillation can also eliminate fluoride, though it's less practical for daily use. Activated carbon filters, like Brita or PUR, won't remove fluoride, so if you're concerned, you'll need a specialized system. Fluoride-free bottled water is another option, but be sure to check labels. And most importantly, know your local water supply. You can request a water quality report from your city to find out exactly how much fluoride is in your drinking water. The core of this debate isn't just about science. It's about freedom of choice. If fluoride is a medical treatment to prevent cavities, shouldn't people have the right to consent to it? Why is fluoride the only drug added to public water supplies without individual consent? If fluoride is truly necessary for dental health, why not offer free fluoride supplements instead of medicating an entire population? These are big questions that governments aren't answering. So, what's the takeaway? Fluoride is not just about teeth. It's about brain development, health risks, and personal choice. The new research shows that high fluoride levels are linked to lower IQ in children, and yet fluoridation continues without full public awareness. Many countries have banned water fluoridation, but in the US and Australia, it remains mandatory. You can take action by filtering your water, staying informed, and advocating for choice in public health policies. At the end of the day, this isn't just about science. It's about whether you should have the right to decide what goes into your body. Thanks for tuning in to MedHeads. If you want to dive deeper into fluoride research, check out the latest reports from JAMA Pediatrics and the National Toxicology Program. And remember, MedHeads is brought to you by meducate.com.au, your go-to source for courses and content for health professionals. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and join us next time as we uncover more hidden truths in healthcare.